Good day, everybody. Happy Saturday. I'm having a hard time keeping up with days. It's actually May 30th in case somebody needed a date check. But it's May
We have
30th.
to pay rent tomorrow.
I already started. Okay. But today we were wanting to come to you guys and share the experiences of those who've already gone back to the salon. So there are people who have been in the salon for a few weeks. Excuse me. Myself and Ronnie will be going back to the salon. Well, I don't know when Ronnie's going back, but I'm not going back to the 11th. I'm not officially working until the 11th. Pardon me. But before we get into that, we can introduce ourselves. I'll just introduce myself first. My name is Aishia. I am a hairstylist in Chicago, working exclusively with tighter textures, sort of tightly curled hair, if we want to say it that way. And I've been doing hair almost it'll be 3 years in August. I've been behind the chair.
Awesome. Hi guys, I'm Meg Conkling. I'm a curly hairstylist out here in Dobbs Ferry, New York. I've been in the industry curly exclusively since 2010. It's been an adventure, and I'm learning to just navigate through this as we experience big changes. So I'm excited to have this conversation today. So we'll see. Adriana.
Hi, everybody. My name is Adriana. I have a hair salon in Tampa, Florida. I have been a stylist for 12 years, specializing in curly hair pretty much the whole time, but mostly specializing in the last 6 or 7 years. And I'm happy to be here. So we got the go-ahead to open, I believe, was May 11th. So I have completed 3 full weeks back at the salon.
So Adriana, tell us about that, because you were the first one to go back.
No, Sonnie was first.
You was first? Okay.
I think I could have, because she was telling us about the masks.
Okay.
So, so I've been back at the salon for 3 weeks. The guidelines for Florida were actually really loose or mild, I guess. It was 4 bullet points, by appointment only, no group appointments, allowing 15 minutes time to properly sanitize in between clients, and employees must wear masks. So I have a small salon, but I have 5 chairs and 2 sinks. The 15 minutes in between appointments, I chose to interpret that as 15 minutes for that station to be like cleaned and sanitized before the next one. So I have been like hopping down chairs and stations in the salon with each client. And it is myself and my assistant here, and we have been wearing masks, and we have also been requiring customers to wear masks, which is a bit of a point of contention in some I don't know, people, groups, age range, or political affiliation. But thankfully, mostly everybody has been great about wearing masks. I did purchase a bunch of a couple boxes through a medical supply company of disposable face masks. So if somebody happens to show up without a mask, or like I've had people show up where they're wearing the wraparound head mask, so you can't really cut their hair with that. I have them for sale for $2.50. I got them for $1.25 a mask, which is kind of expensive, but I was super frustrated and I wanted them stat, so I paid a bit of a premium for these. And I do have them available for sale for clients who do not happen to show up with a mask. Again, mostly everybody has been great. There have been some people who, again, have shown up with like a head wrap mask, or there was another situation. Oh, and then I just had a couple clients where like when they went to put on their disposable mask, it was like a really flimsy one and like the straps just like fell off. So I have had to give a few of these away to customers. I would definitely say with your kind of guidelines and update emails that you're sending to your clients before they come back to the salon, specifically state that you want them to wear an ear loop face masks so they don't come with the ones that wrap around the head, and warn them, if you are a stylist that is doing color, warn them that, you know, don't bring something that's like, you know, you may get color on your mask, because we've been trying to be really careful in the color application and placing cotton around the ears to make sure that we don't get color on them. But when we rinse, like sometimes the strap gets a little bit of color. So I just kind of warn them, or just go ahead and give them, you know, you can adjust that into your pricing and just give them a disposable face mask. So you don't even, it's like not even an issue. Yeah. So but it's been good. I definitely will say that give yourself time in between appointments. It is myself and my assistant here. And I was probably giving myself about 10 minutes in between clients, and I have upped that to about 15 minutes between clients, or like every, you know, 2 appointments having like an extra 20 minutes. One, I'm happy I brought my assistant back because she's pretty much following me around with like barbicide, spraying anything that anybody touches. So that has been super helpful, and customers have been feeling like comforted by the fact that there's somebody going around constantly cleaning, wiping things down, making sure that we have that in place or in check. And also another, so cleaning, I brought my assistant back, and yeah. Oh, and everybody needs a little extra love. So definitely take that into consideration with your appointment timing. Some of my clients who are typically perhaps a like root touch-up have needing to become a root and gloss touch-up plus a conditioning treatment. My haircuts have been needing a little extra love with a detox or a deep conditioning treatment, which I'm super grateful that I had that 15-minute buffer, but then I was like back to back anyways, because I actually needed those 15 minutes as part of the appointment, so they weren't actually a break. So just little things to keep in mind, to definitely have that time set aside on your books, because that first week back knocked me on my ass.
Sorry,
Sonnie, you made it.
my microphone was off. What would you say has been the most challenging part of the mandate? You can't hear me? You said you can hear me? Can you hear me, Adriana? Why can't she hear me? Oh, I had your microphone up. Wait, I can't unmute your microphone. Adriana, what would you say has been the most challenging part of what's been the most challenging thing that you have to adapt to with the mandates? What did she do?
I don't think she can hear you all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's weird. Maybe I should remove her and bring her back. Oh, I don't know what happened. Remove her from this one.
It's a really interesting technology day for me. I don't know. And you didn't have your Wi-Fi for a little bit, so everything is just all the lines.
Can you hear me now, Adriana?
Yeah, I switched to my laptop. I was on my phone before, and I was having some. Oh, sorry. Hello. So I just switched to my laptop, and maybe that will be better.
Okay, I was asking you. I said, what was the most challenging part of the mandate that you had to adapt to? Because of course, I won't say a lot, but we've had to make some adjustments based on Corona or COVID.
Yeah, I think honestly, the mask it's hard working all day with a mask on your face. In addition to time for cleaning up in between appointments, I think it's so important to have 5 minutes where you can step into the back room and take your mask off and breathe, because I think that was the biggest thing that just kind of knocked me on my ass. Like headaches, lightheadedness, sore throat by the end of the day, just from wearing a mask all day. Also, I feel like I was working a lot more slowly. Like, I don't know if my brain wasn't firing right or just taking 6 weeks off of work. When I came back, the appointments that I can usually like bang out in 45 minutes will all of a sudden taking me closer to the hour time slot. So working in a mask is definitely a challenge. Definitely give yourself an opportunity to go into the back room or step outside and take your mask off. Aside from that, I mean, I'm by appointment only anyways. I do have a washer dryer here in the salon, so we have always been diligent about like each client gets a new cape, we use fresh towels, and then now like as soon as that client leaves, we're just scooping all of that up and putting it straight into the wash. Since the virus does get broken down and eliminated with regular soap, we just immediately throw everything in the wash, and that is not a concern. So yeah, the guidelines weren't too strict for Florida. So I think honestly, the hardest thing was just having to wear a mask every day, all day at work. Clients have been great about wearing the masks. I feared that I would perhaps get a little bit of like pushback from my clients, but like, you're going to make me wear a mask. But thankfully everybody's been great. I had one customer say that she was not comfortable wearing a mask. And I said, well, then see you when I see you. So, you know, definitely having the, the confidence to stand up for yourself and your business, to decline an appointment if somebody is not willing to wear a mask, because at the end of the day, I am wearing a mask for you, the customer, to make sure that you don't potentially get sick, and you are wearing a mask for me. So if you are refusing to wear a mask when I am performing a service where I am 6 inches away from your face, and you refuse to wear a mask, I feel like that is a personal disrespect to me, and I don't want to work with you. So it was just one client who didn't want to wear a mask, and she said to herself, she's like, well, perhaps I should cancel. And I said, perhaps you should, and see you some other day. Exactly. Bye-bye. And yeah, the other thing is that we have eliminated our waiting area. I did have two customers who, you know, I've said, please wait in your car. We will, you know, invite you in once we're ready for you. And I've had a few people just kind of like come in and like sprawl out on the couch. I'm like, no, you gotta wait in your car. We cannot have people chilling here. So, and then I do have some input on a little word of caution on anybody who asks for clients to prepay for services. But perhaps Sonnie can share some of her experiences, and then we can come back to that.
Okay, will do. Okay, Sonnie, introduce yourself, because we already did.
Okay, my bad. I'm sorry. I had some technical.
Don't apologize. Like we got started.
My dog is having a fit right now. He's running around the house acting crazy. Sit down. Sorry, guys. Anyway,
somebody's gonna be annoyed by your dog.
I am Sonnie Garrett, Silk by Sonnie on the IG space. I'm from Dallas, Texas. I've been doing hair for 10 years. That's pretty much my gist. I've been back in the salon since May the 8th. And I can say it's definitely been a journey. I actually wrote a list of things down, so I'm going to pull that up to help me stay focused here. It's been good. The clients are back, are you know, they're happy to be back in the salon. I did start, I trickled my way in like the first 2 weeks. I took 1 or 2 clients here and there I didn't like just open up the books. Ghost, tell me, I mean, dude. Okay. I didn't open up the books fully until May the 18th. So I gave myself like, 10 days. And even on May 18th, I didn't just come back in. Like I booked it for, like certain amount of hours could be booked. And I've just kind of trickled my way back into the salon at this point. And it's been very good. As far as like seeing my clients and having that experience. There have been some negative experiences. Like Adriana said, baby, that mask is tough, honey. It's tough. What I guess some advice I can give on the mask. I've been hearing that the respirator masks are better. I haven't been able to find one that wasn't an arm and a leg, so I haven't purchased one at this point. I will say that you will experience if you're not used to wearing the mask, and I think it's a big difference between going to the grocery store in a mask and physically trying to work in the mask, because you're doing a lot more physical labor in that mask, and so your breathing is a lot heavier and deeper. And as well as talking, because we do a lot of talking to our clients, and there's no way to come back from I haven't seen my clients in months and not talk to them. They want to talk. So, and have conversations and talk about their experiences and, what you're going through, what they're going through. Because especially with the clients that like I decided to come back with were my like every 2 weekers. So those are the clients I'm most bonded with because I see them more than I see the rest of my clients. So we're going to have a lot more conversation. So the first 2 weeks of doing that, my throat was very sore. I finally, after doing a little research, because I thought I was tripping, I really didn't find very many resources. And it wasn't until I found this lady on YouTube. It was just one article on YouTube, and she was like, get you some throat lozenges. So definitely get you some throat lozenges or some type of candy or something to keep your throat moisturized while you're working. Try not to choke on it because I almost died one day. Trying to talk with the lozenger in my mouth. Just hint of advice from me to you. And also definitely keep you some water on hand. Keep your bottle of water near you. If you need to step away and take you a sip of water, definitely do that because you will leave. Like I think my voice is deeper right now just from wearing the mask than it normally is. Definitely make sure you are taking breaks. Take you some breaks. Like if you need to step outside and get you some air for just a hot second, take your breaks, get you some air, where you can step outside and actually take that mask off and get you some air because it can become really exhausting. Because I've noticed I've been a lot more tired than I normally am. And I'm like, no, I haven't been as active, and I do know there's a process in getting back into the salon, but I will say that I've been having to take breaks and get some air. And I just think it's because I'm not breathing as normally as I normally would because I have the mask on my face. So I want you guys, I think that is one of my biggest things about being back in the salon. Cleaning, I don't have an issue with cleaning. Of course, you have to do more cleaning. That I think that goes without saying. With everything, and then just kind of restructuring how I do things from upping my prices and changing out your bookings, allowing more times for services like Adriana said is important. Adriana, you wanted to say something real quick? She's muted. Unmute her.
I forgot, but then I remembered. Drinking water from a straw seems to be, it's like kind of random, but that seems to be a bit easier, especially like with the mask situation. I don't know, just little sidebar. So I have those silicone straws because I don't like the metal because I like to chew my straws. Anyways, so the silicone straws, and then just, kind of having it on nearby, and definitely water. And then the like you were saying, the throat lozenges with honey or lemon. These hulls I found. How do I do this without? just a regular Halls with honey and lemon. I also got the Listerine strips and the Listerine throat spray. These are also fantastic. However, be careful putting your mask back on after you put one of these in your mouth, because that peppermint goes right back up your nose and down your eyes. And I started crying one day from the peppermint being so strong. So also watch out eating garlicky foods.
Well, oh my God.
You get to
oh my God.
experience that for the rest of the day. So these have been great for that.
Yes. Oh my God. Girl, I ate some pasta and then went back to work. I took a break, went to lunch, ate some pasta, some shrimp pasta. Girl, put that mask back on. I damn near threw up. I was like, what is that smell? And I was like,
it's you, babe.
That's my breath. Like I had to go get it together because I was about to throw up because I could not smell that, and it was so close in my nose. And then just sidebar, which has nothing to do with anything. If whoever got funky breath now, they know that their breath is funky now. If you never knew your breath was hot before, now you got to know that your breath is hot. Okay, because there's no way you can't smell it.
Oh yeah,
y'all are funny. So far, the most
question.
Go ahead.
So has your efficiency in the salon been affected? Like how long it takes you to do your services, and how have you guys managed around that? Are you still trying to figure it out?
Just adding time. Like I mentioned earlier, I do have my assistant with me, so she has been indispensable. I was hesitant at first if I could afford to bring her back because our productivity has gone down. We're taking about one less client a day. So, you can't 1 to 2 less clients a day. So you can't fit as many people as we usually can in a work day. And I hesitated whether or not I was going to bring back my assistant because that like one more client a day is kind of like what pays for her. But I'm so grateful that I did bring her back because she has saved my ass so many times where she can just check people in, check people out, finish rinsing somebody, finish a wash and go for me, diffuse somebody for me, because even though I stretched out my times because people have been needing a little bit of extra love, and I feel like I'm moving more slowly because wearing the mask, like, I don't know, I'm not 100%. I have definitely been slower. And I'm not in that like rock and roll, pace that I usually have at the salon. Mm-hmm. So, yes, my efficiency, like I'm slower. Not because of the cleaning, because that's not a big deal, but it's like just talking is exhausting, and like working with the mask the entire time is exhausting. So I feel like I'm moving more slowly. And then, we're asking people to wash their hands. So sometimes, that hand washing becomes like a 5-minute situation. You're like, all right, come on, let's go. Like, we got to get started. Thank you for washing your hands, but like, sit down.
So are you guys, are you able to overlap your clients, or are you just doing one person at a time in the chair or in your?
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, in the state of Florida, the guideline was allow 15 minutes in between customers for appropriate sanitation practices. And I chose to interpret that as allow 15 minutes for that station, because otherwise it would not make sense. Like, you're only allowed to have one person in the building at a time. So this is my salon, and I have 5 chairs and 2 sinks. So I can usually, like, I'll use one chair. As soon as that client gets up and goes, that gets wiped down, and I'll start, a couple minutes later on the second chair. So that station and that cart and everything has 15 minutes to sit with the barbicide before we use it again. So I have been layering clients. So I will perform a haircut. We will do the wash and go, and then put them under the dryer. And then my next haircut arrives, and, going down the list like that. And because it's myself and my assistant, like, it's 2 of us, working on them. And then for my color clients, I will apply the color, and then it has to sit for 45 minutes. So I'll take an express haircut or a men's haircut in that processing time. Not always. Sometimes I wish to take that processing time as my break, but everybody was so anxious to get back into that, like, sometimes I was taking a break on the processing time. Other times I was taking a client and just trying to, and other times, so just to, try to catch up and get people in. Somebody tried to walk into the salon just now.
As far as for me, I layer. I won't say I take one client at a time, but I will layer because I do have clients like, well, if they have to sit underneath the dryer for 45 minutes to an hour to dry, then I'm sitting there and I'm not doing anything. And right now I've actually moved my business from a suite into an open air salon. And right now I'm the only stylist in there at the moment. So when and the space is at least 1,000 square feet. So I'm in 1,000 square feet by myself. So I can have the dryers are way back in the back, and I'm doing hair way in the front. So for me, I'm able to put somebody at the back, and we actually have a roll up door, which is open to the outdoors in the back. So I roll that door up. Now, when it's July, I'm probably not going to be able to do that. That's not a long-term solution, but I open that door up to put some fresh air in the building. So we do have ventilated fresh air coming in. And so I'll put them back there by the dryer, and then I'm way up at the front. So it allows for some layering, not like taking 2 clients at one time. Like I don't book them that way. But as they're underneath the dryer, and then I kind of move them around to where at any time, each person is 20 or 30 feet from the other person at any given moment. It's kind of how I do it. And that's working for me for right now. I'm pretty sure I'll have to make some adjustments as if other people come in, but as of right now, it's just me. And then I think there is somebody coming in, but 2 or 3 of those days she doesn't work and I work, so I'll still be there by myself. So it works for me for now. And that's pretty much how I've been doing it. I will say another thing I've been doing is touchless payments. I've been working on that. I don't want to touch their debit card. I don't even like putting my PIN number in at the gas station or at the store. Like, I feel like it's the dirtiest thing right now. So I definitely been working on touchless payments. So I've been doing, Zelle, Venmo, like just money moving apps. But I just kind of realized I'm not even using my merchant app right now just because of the way it's set up. It's a card reader. So like I'm not using that. So I am going to have to adjust. And I need to call them and see if they have a touchless system that they offer. So I can, I like having my merchant account because it keeps everything in one place for me. But I need to call them and see like what type of touchless equipment or technology do you have to where I can still keep using your service? Because if not, we're just going to Zelle it up or whatever, whatever app, because I don't want to touch their card and all that other stuff. I don't know where it's been. And it just makes me feel safer. They and my clients haven't been complaining. They're like, hey, what, like, how can I pay you? And they just adjust accordingly. A lot of them, they don't want to pull their card out and put it in my hand either. So, that's been working, for me. What else did I have? My clients haven't been like, and as far as like coming in, they've been so diligent about not coming in that I literally have to be like, I'll be in the salon by myself and they still won't come in the door. They're like, no. I'm there. They'll literally have their hand on the door and then they're looking and they're like, is it okay? Like, is it okay to come in now? And I'm like, girl, come on in here. It's not that big of a deal, but, they've been very respectful. They, about my time, very respectful about making sure that they follow the rules and they're staying cleanly. All of that. They don't go to the bathroom to wash their hands per se. We keep hand sanitizer at the door. We also have a release form at the door that they have to sign when they come in. to make sure, you know, just to waive us of any like penalties from if they get sick or anything like that from being in our building. So that's another thing that that is something that does take a couple minutes. You know, they'll read. Most of them don't even read it; they just sign it. They just want their hair done. That's all they know is I'm here and I want my hair done. So they do that, and then it pretty much, you know, besides the mask, that it just becomes, you know, automated from what was previously going on. Of course, making sure, you know, you're using a new cape, making sure you're you know, you're keeping the towels and stuff and having to spray everything every 5 minutes. That does become daunting after a while. And I feel like most of the, well, no, I don't feel like, I know that most of the things that we have been doing, we were always supposed to have been doing anyway because of regulations. So, right. So you're supposed to clean the chair after every single client. That's what you learn in hair school. That's safety regulation. And you're supposed to clean the bowl after every client. You're supposed to, all that stuff that the normal cleaning, that's all regulation that we've been taught since hair school. But I think when, like, you learn that in hair school, but when you get in the real world and you're in the real salon and you're around other stylists that have been doing hair forever, you kind of come up out of that. You know, yes, you do clean it, but you probably just clean it, you know, at the end of the day, or, you know, and most of the time, you know, when you think about it in your mind, their bodies, their skin is not really touching it. It's really their clothes. And so, so it's really just we're going back to hair school. It's, you know, it's really going back to the basics and going back to hair school. Like, everything is, sanitized, everything. Like, I think you know, from the years, and I noticed, I was like, I got lazy on all this stuff from years and years and years of doing hair. And it's now I feel like I'm in hair school where you're scrutinizing every little safety issue. You're just going back to that. Does anybody else want to say something?
No, I think you guys have definitely summed up your experience. Now, Meg and Ronnie, when are you guys scheduled to return? I know we have officially opened and we can go back June 3rd. I'm not going back on June 3rd because I am not prepared to be back on June 3rd. And so I'm actually finishing up like all the protocol and scheduling and fixing my website. This is something I know people are like, why you didn't do that weeks ago? Wasn't in the headspace for it and was no need to do it when I didn't know exactly when I was going back. Now that I know when I'm going back, and I'm the kind of person I can't jump right in. It's like, okay, I need a week. I need a week to get myself together before I head back, wrap my mind around what I'm getting myself into. And also, I'm still waiting for my PPE to show up. I don't have all of my supplies yet. Like, they have not all arrived. I just ordered stuff earlier last week. So Ronnie and Meg, when are y'all scheduled to open or able to go back?
Ronnie, yeah, you go.
Okay, so California, well, LA County just got the okay yesterday. I work in a suite. So my situation is the suite, the common area has to be handled first. So they've got to disinfect that, clean it. It's been a little dusty because it's a couple of months, get that open. So I have to actually wait for them to let us know when they're going to open up the suites for us. But I'm also not going to jump in during the first week either. I need time to get my suite together because we do have protocols and new regulations that we have to follow. So I have to make sure those are all in place. As far as PPE goes, it's been made available to us through the suite owners. So they have everything and we can order it directly from them. We also have a store right in the suites. So all of the PPP that we would need will be available as we run out, or, you know, we didn't pre-buy it. So I was able to pre-buy a lot of things, but I do have to set up. I am set up for contactless or tap to pay, things like that. But what I do have to do is get my clients together. So I have created a Facebook group just for the clients, a private group, and that's where I keep them updated on everything that is going on. So I feel that if they're as prepared as possible and know exactly how things are going to work, then things will go a little bit easier, because I'm all about efficiency and working seamlessly and, not being too stressed. So the more people that are prepared and ready, the better it is for me, when I'm working. So that's my plan. We'll see how that works.
Right. The plan, right? It's like, it's a joke at first because you just don't know what's going to happen. Like I'm somebody that, with my space, I'll give you a little mental tour. My space is a standalone building, brick and mortar. I have the floor level retail space. It's a gigantic window. So what's really nice about my space is that people can look in and feel the vibe. What I just invested in, and I want to give a big shout out to my mom because she's been kind of helping me articulate some steps. I bought a wireless doorbell. So then I just know if someone's outside. Because me personally, with asking people to stay in their car, it's about to be summer and hot as ever here. And so I think if people want to get out, my salon's in a very like nature setting. If they want to get out and go for a walk, they are more than welcome to come, press the doorbell, and we can actually tell them in lifetime, like, hey, we would love to see you. And this time we're actually running behind. Because I think that's going to be a lot of the reality is I'm probably going to be anywhere between 6 to 11 minutes of shortage of time for my next client. And I know psychology wise, I'm going to have a lot of clients who are going to be nervous and a lot of clients who are control freaks. So I'm going to have to kind of balance them as they come into the space and learn that the space is calm. And I think just kind of coming out of being home a lot, people are just trying to gauge what feels good and what doesn't. So I'm expecting a lot of kind of calming, letting people know everything's okay, laughing. Like I really look forward to just providing a space where we're not so obsessed about talking about the COVID epidemic and we can just focus on hair and we can focus on the good things in life. Because being a stylist, as you all know, everyone that we have back-to-back people, so we're asked the same questions over and over and over again. And for me personally, I think that puts a really like tight leash on my creativity and my mental flow, and it drains me. So for me, I'm just going to systematically approach it like, hey, we're here, you're welcome, but our door's locked until we create like the open door for you to come in. And that feels really good for me because there are going to be those clients, like Adriana said, that are just going to walk in and just, they don't know that there's new boundaries. So I like the doorbell effect. It has 5 chimes. So I'm looking forward to how magical it makes my space sound, honestly, for selfish reasons. But I think for me, I get to make the rules as far as like, I have guidelines, but New York right now just announced that next, I think, not this upcoming Monday, the following Monday, I have permission to open up from the state. But I'm going to just kind of, I call it like snake rattle tail it. Like I'm just going to do the first week and then people are just going to have to hold up hearing from me until I can venture into the next week. Cause I'm going to want to make adjustments. I'm going to have to learn from my first week and my second week, not to perfect it, but to give it flow and to really strategize and to really feel confident in what I'm saying to clients, because you're going to have those clients that are going to test your patience because they want what they want. So it's really about keeping the forefront of, I have bodies in my chair. And so I have a higher responsibility to making sure everybody is taken care of. So that's going to be just the forefront of anything I say. I'm sorry I'm running 15 minutes late. I have lives in my hands. Like, I'm really just caring about everybody. So I really doubt people are going to argue with that. I think clients are going to be much more understanding but we want to prepare for the clients who aren't, right? That's just nature of like survival. So website is being updated. I'm changing my prices. I'm waiting for, yeah, okay, I know that was a big one, but I'm waiting for equipment. I want to buy new things. I want to change the experience, and so we'll just kind of see where that brings me. And you know, I'm not gonna pre-book far out. I only do haircuts, so I don't have to worry about hair color, which has been a very big blessing for me and how I've been running my business. So I'm just going to pretty much look at it as how long does it take somebody to do something like, you know, Sonnie and Adriana were saying about like just going and washing hands and filling something out, because there's always that fluff in between that we can't picture. We just think structure. But I'm really looking forward to seeing like how this will evolve me as a stylist with communication, and how it's going to really show me as an entrepreneur where I want my business to run, and where I'm going to set new boundaries. And, you know, Ronnie gave me some really beautiful advice, and so did Aishia, about like just really kind of practicing like where to make your boundaries flexible and where to change some things. So for, you know, my high anxious stylists out there, because I'm one of them, like it's okay to create a system and then it doesn't really work out and you can finesse it. And so I think I'm just going to really take it easy on myself and just book accordingly and keep it sane. I think for me personally, when I reopen, that's my gist. That's my story.
I think one of the most important things is that first we give ourselves grace before we lend the grace to the clients. I think a lot of times as service professionals, we tend to give the grace to clients first and then put ourselves on the back burner. And we can't do that because we'll run ourselves thin, we'll run ourselves ragged, trying to appease somebody who needed boundaries to begin with. We talked about this earlier in the week, and I think this conversation kind of goes into this. But I came from a retail background, and a lot of times, if anybody in here worked retail, boundaries are tested all the time when you work in retail. And so I made a conscious decision when I got fired from my last retail job. I'm honest about my shit. When I got fired, I made a conscious decision that when I work or how I work is important to me. I've worked lots of Christmas holidays where I make Christmas dinner and I've got to leave early because I got to be back at work at 6 a.m. to flip some prices. And so that experience for me created some boundaries. I feel like the COVID, I know we don't talk about it, but COVID is making us grab on to those boundaries because one, we're going to need them. And clients are going to need boundaries moving forward. No shade against y'all clients, but yeah, we have to have some boundaries between us and our clients because we can't go back into this or go back into the salon after this running ourselves ragged. We can't do it anymore. It's just not going to work. So if you must cover some of your expenses because we've had to buy PPE and all this PPE, like the prices are stupid now because everybody needs it. Supply and demand is at work here. Raise your prices and feel no way about it. Literally, don't feel away because guess who's not feeling away? That landlord you got to pay. My landlord has only given us 1 month where he gave us half off the rent. And the other 2 months, we paid the whole rent. The whole thing. Guess what he didn't feel? Nothing. He felt nothing. He felt no way. He waited. He got his little alert like, okay, they paid. Great. Let's move on. I need you to keep the same energy that the landlord has about you paying for your space, your salon, your full, whatever. Keep that energy yourself because they're business people and so are we. We're not hobbyists. We're not doing this for fun. We're doing this so that we can live. We're doing this so that we can go on the vacations or trips that we like to go to, take the classes we want to take. We are not doing, this is our livelihood at stake here. So don't feel away. Don't do surcharges though. Like, don't do a surcharge. People hate thinking they are taxed for new shit. Just increase your prices.
I agree with you, because when I told my landlord, you know, when this was all happening and I was sending him all of the articles about like people are getting a break on rent for a little bit, his response to me was, Meg, I have a family. And I was like, okay. The conversation was over. And so many people were like, no, you should hound him. And I was like, listen, I'm not hounding him. He got a 3-year-old and he's right. And like, this is not his problem. And so it really is, you know, Aishia, you know, seriously, it is true. It is, no one else is going to come to save you, really. So yeah, no, absolutely. And it's hard. It's hard. Yeah, Ronnie.
Yeah, another reason that I'm taking some time is because I am running a business first and foremost. So everything that I do has to line up. It has to align with what I need to keep my business running, because the business has to run like a business in order for it to give me the livelihood I need to stay alive, you know, and take care of my whole life. So I have to figure out life, and I have to figure in things like PPE. I mean, I've even considered moving to another place, you know, so that I could have a little bit more space to move people around. Do I want to stay in a suite? I have a double suite, and I have enough space between the chairs. But then, you know, with 3 of us in there, it's still like questionable, you know? So I do have to think about those things, and I have to think about my comfort level as well as my client's comfort level, but mine first, because if I'm not comfortable, it's just not going to work for anyone. And I cannot give anyone the service that they deserve and that they're paying for if I don't have everything in place in the way that it needs to be. And if that means that a price increase must happen, then that's how it has to be.
Because if the stylist isn't taken care of, then the clients aren't taken care of. And that's what clients really need to understand.
Yeah.
You know?
A little cautionary.
Real quick, nothing from them to understand. They just have to accept.
Yes.
Accept that this is the way things are, because in order for me to operate and to continue to operate, this is what I have to. I don't even feel like it's something that has to be explained. They pop up, they're like, oh, it is. This is what happens when stuff happens and everything has increased. And I'm not taxing you because I didn't work. That's what I'm not doing. I'm not taxing you because I was not working. I am taxing you because I am taxed with the supplies that I need to operate.
A little cautionary tale going back to the boundaries that the ladies touched on is I had a customer who, so I chose to not encourage my clientele to prepay for services. Some people were encouraging, you know, asking for people to buy gift cards and prepay for services to keep some cash flow. Personally, I felt like that was like not really my money because I haven't delivered a service, and that just means that I owe somebody money later. Thankfully, you know, I try to be really organized with my finances, and I took a hit, but I was like, I would rather just not have any cash flow than to have this like fake cash flow, but then be working for free later. So I had one customer who called me and insisted on prepaying for her services. And I was like, really? That's not necessary. Like, thank you. That is so kind, but not necessary. And she insisted. And I was like, you know what? Fine. Okay. You know, I'm very grateful. Thank you so much. She bought some product and prepaid for her services. So, and this was a new client coming to me. So we get the go ahead to open and my phone starts blowing up. And she needs to get in the next like 3 to 4 days because she's leaving town. And, you know, I've been doing hair for 12 years. So I have like a loyal clientele that I feel like there's some people who, you know, I wanted to get in the people who miss like 2 and 3 appointments first before a first-time client who I don't even know, never met them before, you know, just like a loyalty thing. So she pops into the salon on my first Saturday and to pick up the products that she had prepaid. And then she's like, well, you couldn't get me in, you know, in the 3 days or 4 days that I gave you to get me in. So I want a refund. I don't like to fight with people when they ask me for a refund. If somebody drops the R word, I'm already backpedaling. I don't want to fight. I don't want the review. I don't want anything. I say, you know what? I don't need the $90. Here you go. Here's your money back. We are done doing business together. So I had to refund this lady her price, her money for her service that she so kindly prepaid for during quarantine to help me out. And but then I couldn't get her in on her timeline. And yeah, I had to issue that refund. So cautionary tale, make those boundaries. If you have a refund policy, you know, make sure that is clearly stated, and perhaps follow up with those clients that, you know, were so kind to give you some money during quarantine, and just try to check that. I hope that does not happen to any of you. Two other real quick tips. I know we're coming at the top of the hour, but Malibu Sea, so MalibuSea.com, if you make a pro account with them, which is free, they have been making these giant bottles of hand sanitizer, and they have them on sale for $18. So I highly recommend, and if you spend $50 with them, shipping is free. So get yourself a couple bottles of these guys. You can even retail them if you so choose. I have had a few clients ask me if they can buy them off of me. It does not come with a pump, but any standard gallon pump fits. So I just popped over to Cosmoprof and I paid like $1 or $1.50 for this pump, and it fits in this giant gallon. Also, if you want to be a little bit nicer, Simple Human has these pretty cool automated dispensers. So it can be touch-free, and you don't even have to have anybody touching anything. So this thing was $60. I put a little tag saying hand sanitizer. There you go. They also make the little sachets if you want to just go ahead and issue, Ronnie, if you want to go ahead and issue them their own little hand sanitizer. But those have been just a couple little helpful items that I purchased, and everybody has been, you know, grateful and impressed having those at the desk. And I make them sanitize on the way in and on their way out. Don't want you leaving with something. Don't want you coming with something.
That's dope. Does anybody else have anything else they want to share? Anything else they want to say in regards to returning back to the salon?
I want to say something. Anybody that's, you know, having some anxiety about going back to salon, it is understandable to have some anxiety, because there are a lot of what ifs. But just know that after you get back in there, you're going to get back in the swing of things, and it's going to feel like it felt before, except for the mask. It's gonna feel the same way. You'll get back in the swing of things. Don't rush yourself. Take your time. You know, give yourself the time that you need. Definitely, like I said, if you need to adjust, like I know for me, I took off all my simple services, because for my clientele, everybody needs maintenance. You're not coming in here getting if you're gonna come in here, you're gonna spend some real money today, honey. So, and if I'm out here, risking my exposure, you need to come in here and spend some real coins. Period. So, and that also helps me, because now I'm only servicing high dollar services. So I don't have to do as many services a day to make my quota of the money that I need to make, so I can make sure I hit my goals for the week. So that does help. So I'm not wasting an hour doing somebody that we barely doing anything, and you're not really spending no money. I'm not wasting that type of time anymore, because I don't have that kind of time anymore to waste. And because I've noticed that I've been more tired, I know for me, I've been working 2 days, taking a day off, working 2 more days. You guys will have to adjust based on your financial goals, what works for you. But I've found out that I can make that works for me and the money that I need to make. because I'm tired. Like I'm just tired. So just keep that in mind. I think that's it.
Take a bath.
So I'd
Take
like
a bath
to
when you
say,
get home.
right?
Oh yeah, take a good bath, a shower when you get home.
The first week I was taking a bath and going straight to bed after each day of work. I could hardly feel my feet at the end of the week. I definitely overdid it the first week back. And I thought I had spaced things. Like I thought I had given myself enough time. I thought I took the precautions and it was still not enough. So give yourself like twice as much time as you think you do. Because you're probably going to be slower. The clients need more, and just getting used to this new normal. I did not give myself enough time. Oh, and go back to the salon and check your products. I had 2 tubs of bleach that went bad during quarantine because I think it might have gotten too hot in the salon. We're in Florida, so it gets really hot and humid. And I had 2 tubs of bleach that went bad while the 6 weeks that we were closed. So just take a peek at your salon and your stuff and like make sure that everything is still good.
And then feet are gonna hurt again. I know you probably been working for years and your feet don't normally hurt when everybody gets a little bit. It's only on those, when you bang it out and do a 12-hour day or 13-hour day, you're like, "Ooh, my feet hurt." But if you just go in for 5-6 hours, you're good. No, baby, them 5-6 hours on them feet, because your feet been up. You've been kicked up, honey. So when you come back, them feet. So if you are able to go and get you an extra pedicure, or if you have somebody home that can rub your feet, or if you can soak your feet, definitely do that. Make sure you wear your comfortable shoes, because I haven't had my feet hurt from working in years, and my feet have been sore almost every day just trying to get back into the swing of things. So leave your cute shoes at the house, honey.
That's good advice.
I think that communicating with your clients, I'm realizing that almost over communicating helps them understand what's happening, and it makes them feel a little calmer and eases some anxiety for them. But it also is going to help the way that you're going to move through the salon. And so being very clear about what's happening and how it's going to happen, and ask them for some patience.
Yeah, I will say that
it's been a while.
Yeah, I will say here in Chicago, with the local government, state government has done such an awesome job of keeping us like so informed. There is no reason why anybody in Chicago, anybody with internet, say this, because you can tap in if you live somewhere else. Anybody with internet should tap into the Chicago news conferences. They literally like explained everything down to it, like a detail. I in fact shared the other day on my Instagram when Dr. Awardi, who is the commissioner of health here in Chicago, she did a whole explanation about like hairstylists, like what it meant going back, that we're high risk workers, just like a doctor, just like a nurse, because we have no way of creating any space between ourselves and the clients that we work with. What I will say too, just from my observation as a newbie in the industry, is that from what I do know, in fact, this came up the other day in a conversation I had with a friend. She was like, "I consider you to be a bougie hairstylist." And I understood exactly what she was saying. I don't operate, and most of the people that I know don't operate this way, but they have all these people and folks are waiting at 8 hours. Those 8-hour days in salons are over anywhere, even nail salons. I've heard people saying how like, "Oh, I don't like making appointments." Everybody's got to make an appointment to do stuff now. You cannot just roll up anywhere anymore to get anything done, because that is a part of the guideline. I feel like that guideline is carrying over from every state. You cannot take walk-ins. So that idea of, how certain, people run their business, or even for us as professionals in this entire industry, we are now have to shift not only how we do business, but we also have to shift how we're pricing our business, because that $20 pedicure that y'all used to get, they ain't gonna be no $20. They about to be super rare now, because now they have to take appointments and they can't have people just hanging out in the space. Everybody inside of the salon is a paying body, not just a hanging out. You're paying to be in that space, because we have to do all of the cleaning and sanitizing that goes along with that. So I just want people to be ready and prepared for that part, because I just saw a whole thing. This girl wrote this whole thing about like the Asian nail shops. You can just roll in and you don't have to make. I was like, baby, you don't have to make appointments now. I don't care who.
Not anymore.
What place you think you're about to go to is going to require an appointment now?
And you know, I would like to say, so I'm not really, I don't have a lot of anxiety about transferring COVID from one person to another, or even getting it. So before they shut us down, I was working, I had pneumonia. I had taken some time off and had gone back in and thought I was fine and was okay. But I also realized that I work elbow deep in soap and chemicals all day. So I feel like we're high risk, but at the same time, we've got many, and disinfecting. I mean, we're disinfecting cone. If you were, you know, all it lowers our chances. But I'm not too worried about that. And I feel like being in a suite, it's a little bit more contained. So I've got this space where I can really control how disinfected and everything is. So I'm not worried. I have no concern.
I think too, Ronnie, just to add to what you're saying, I think you being informed helps you to like cease or decrease any anxiety. The only thing I have been personally anxious about is just going back, not COVID related, just like having to like have everything in order, having all the equipment. That made me more anxious than say like going back to the salon and being concerned about being exposed to anybody who possibly has COVID. That's not my concern. So I would say just like be as informed as possible as you can about COVID. Again, if y'all need to tap into the Chicago press conferences, I'm telling you, to get your mind all the way right, because they have the governor. Every time he comes on with the doctor. Not every time, but whenever there's something about COVID, it's the doctor, Dr. Nzike and Dr. Awardi. I know their names now because I've seen them at least twice a week since this has been going on. And so having that information and insight helps. If I watch and I see something, I'll share on my Instagram. And if you're in the Cut It Kinky Mastermind, I'll share in there. Anything that comes up that I think is industry specific, I'll share it with y'all. So I hope this helps everybody with, going back, being prepared to go back, getting all the necessary equipment that you need. Is there anything, Adriana and Sonnie, is there anything that you have yet to purchase as far as equipment is concerned that you feel like you may need at some point? Is there anything that you're considering? Like, well, I probably should get this. Is there anything we should know?
I've been having a hard time, getting a Barbicide. Like I said, we were all talking the other day. Everybody was having issues I'm sorry, they were mowing my lawn in the backyard, so I apologize. Okay. But it's being able to find Barbicide and have some on hand, being able to find hand sanitizer that doesn't smell like trash. Be just cleaning supplies. I think that's the main objective, is having proper cleaning supplies on hand to be able to properly sanitize. That, I think that's the main thing. Everything else is, is back to normal, combs, clips, scissors, capes. That's it.
I would say make sure that you have, if you are in kind of like a smaller salon or a suite type space, make sure that you have enough capes and enough towels so that you can, have a new cape per client and, fresh, clean towels, which I'm assuming everybody's doing anyways. But occasionally somebody may get lazy and reuse a cape or whatever, and like that is not a thing anymore. Like clean cape every client. So if you need to purchase a dozen or 2 dozen or whatever, so that you have enough to get through like a full day and have everybody have a new cape or smock per visit, and then you launder it whenever you have time. I noticed that my capes are getting a little like raggedy, so I plan on purchasing some new ones. Barbicide is constantly in and out of stock at Salon Centric and some of the local beauty supplies. So when I see some, I'm just scooping that up. That hand sanitizer from Malibu is great. It does not stink. I've been really happy with it. I have like 5 jugs of it, and yeah, no, I think that's it. Just making sure that you have enough supplies on hand to, you know, get you through the day, so that you don't, or perhaps a couple of days, so that you're not having to like scramble and having to wash or sanitize something before another client, apart from just like wiping down the chairs.
Yeah, I was gonna say that it's I've doubled up on like combs and clips and things like that, so that I can have time to sanitize something and use another thing, because I'm in a suite, so washers and dryers, but now they're only going to allow us our towels, because they're disinfecting that whole room and all the cabinets. So we're not going to have access anymore. So I've switched to disposable capes. So that's something that actually I'm kind of excited about. But disposable capes is another option, in addition to having just, you know, a whole bunch of capes that you have to now take care of.
Okay, Ronnie, can you talk about real quick, because we all have had the conversation this week about barbicide and how there's a chemical in barbicide. So just so y'all know why barbicide is running out, because nobody's really talking about it, but there's a chemical in barbicide that the military has like scooped up, and so barbicide can't keep up with the demand and making enough to supply the demand, because obviously some people I don't think have been using the barbicide to begin with, but that's another story for another day. But that barbicide isn't the only product. So talk about what we need to look for, because we were just talking about that.
All you need, so yeah, you need something that is EPA approved. And so just think hospital grade or medical grade disinfectants. There's a bunch out there. Barbicide is not the end all be all only thing, as long as it's EPA approved, because it kills the same germs and things like that the barbicide does. So that's all. If you're having difficulties with the barbicide, look for things that are EPA approved or hospital grade.
Okay, I think that helps. And one last thing, is anybody considering, because I'm in a suite, but my suite is like the size of Adriana's salon, and I'm there by myself because there's probably no point anytime that Elise will be back. So I kind of get to work the same way that Adriana gets to work, in terms of having, you know, the space. And because the way my salon is set up, the stations, there's like a wall, like a little wall, but it's a mirror, and the other stations on the other side. So there's the barrier that I would need in between stations to create that distance. So I need to go back, because I kind of don't remember exactly where everything is or like how my salon looks, because I haven't been there. But I have to go look and see how I'm going to schedule the flow of, you know, actually working with clients, because I can do a client and then get them under the dryer, and then I could take the next client. So but I can't have people waiting. So, but talk about the air filters, because we were talking about that this week, Ronnie, and you brought up some really good points about that. Remember we talked about the air filters, and then Tyciana showed us that other air filter and why you were going to get that one.
Oh, why?
Because it has to be like the right molecules, like the tiny molecules. It has to suck those up.
Well, yeah, it has to be the HEPA. It's a HEPA filter, but I chose, because we had this long conversation about the filters, and I ended up choosing the Dyson, or sticking with the Dyson, because it's not just a purifier. We have a choice of getting one that's a purifier and that heats and that cools. or a purifier that also cools or that heats one or the other. So you get all three or two of the things with that one. So it's pricier, but I feel like you're getting 3 in 1 or 2 in 1. So sometimes it's nice in the winter. I don't really have to worry about the air, but it is nice to be able to knock the chill off with the heat when it's really cold. It gets really cold where I am. And the same, sometimes I get hot, even though the air is on, and so I can direct it right at me and just, cool myself off. So there's a lot of different, and it's also the size, that if it's too big and bulky, I'm out, because I have this thing about space. I need some space, and things that take up a lot of space are going to be problematic for me. So I also like that it's, it's narrow, it's long, and it kind of, you can fit it in a corner. Yeah. Easier to fit around somewhere. So those things, yeah, I have to weigh that with the cost, because they're not cheap.
Never.
Well, and remember that once you are a member of the Dyson family, you get 20% off other Dyson products. So if you already have your blow dryer or your vacuum at the house, go on the website or call them so you can take advantage of that 20% discount from Dyson.
And I wanted to add I know between the Dyson and the Molecule, it's really popular. And for people who have, like, between the two, I've been talking to a bunch of people, like Molecule and Dyson are the two popular air filtration systems that most salon stylists are looking for right now. And I was able to, I'm going to leave it in the comments for those who are looking for the little mini Molecule one, and want to go more for that brand. I can give you a coupon code so you get a discount, because they gave me something to kind of share with people.
Okay, because you can get the Molecule. They have it in a combo pack. Like you can get the Molecule and then 1 or 2 of the little ones with it at a discounted price.
Right.
Yeah. So they'll sell them together. Right.
So if somebody's just more interested in getting the tabletop, maybe having it for their desk or something, just so also too it gives that fresh air. It's, if that's more of the price range. I just wanted to leave a coupon code to help anybody who's interested, because it helps to take money off, I think it's $50 actually.
Ooh.
Every little bit counts.
Every little bit counts. I wanted to offer that.
I'll take it.
Real quick before
because we have to invest in restarting our business during a time when we haven't really been running our business. So every little bit counts.
For sure. To anybody who's watching, real quick, did you guys have any questions? I saw that some people went back already.
I believe Wendy had a question. If we're taking new clients, did we address that?
Oh no, we didn't.
Wendy had a question if we were taking new clients and if we were blow drying. What I am doing right now is I am honoring any new clients who had an appointment during quarantine, during the time that we were closed. So I am honoring those appointments. Aside from that, I'm trying to work through all of my regulars before opening up the remainder of my books to other potential new clients. So yes, I am taking new clients, but a little limited to just take the people who were already on the schedule. And we are diffusing and we are putting them under the hood dryer. Florida does not have any regulation as to like blow dry or not blow dry. I know some states are different with like the blow dry argument. I've been drying my clients. The space is big enough, and I feel like we're all wearing masks. If we're wiping everything down, I don't know how much of a difference a blow dryer is going to do. But what I am doing is the way that I have my chairs. I have 3 chairs on one side and 2 chairs on the other. So I'm putting people kind of like on opposite ends so that they are really far away from each other when I do have somebody drying, and then I have somebody else for a haircut or a color. Sonnie, I don't know about you.
I'm using I can't function in my business without a blow dryer. I mean, I do silk presses. How's the hair gonna get dry? Like, but how's it gonna happen? I mean, a blow dryer is hot enough to burn your skin, so I think it's hot enough to burn a virus. It might not be, but in my mind, I wear glasses. I wear glasses and a mask, so my eyes are protected, my face is covered. On top of that, I mean, we're blow drying clean hair. By the time you get to a blow dryer, their scalp has been sanitized properly. Like I do at least 3 or 4 shampoos on each client because we have to clarify first and then hydrate. So, I mean, their scalp is clean by the time I get to a blow dryer. So I don't, in my mind, I'm not understanding why we can't use.
I think the question is that it's if somebody has it, and as soon as they open their mouth and talk, you know, it spreads through. And I think the question has always been, does the blow dryer spread the virus? You know, but I read an article that said that's
yeah, but
no.
I mean, again, my clients, they have on a mask, so I think that we should be good. What was the other question? Said,
are you taking new clients and are you blow drying them?
So what I did in the beginning, I said that I wasn't taking new clients until July. And I'm sticking to that. But if the right person hits me on the right day, it depends on my mood that day. So if somebody is like very intent on coming in and they spend the time to actually send a DM or an email, and my books are open. My dog is harassing me right now. But what I found is when I open my books up for my regular clients to book, a lot of them didn't book. We opened up on May the 8th, but a lot of them booked out for late June. So then that left a big gap of time for me, like towards the end of this month and also the beginning of June. So I was like, well, I could sit around and do nothing, or I could take, you know, some new clients, because people are, you know, some people still have hesitation about what they want to do. That's fine. So I went ahead and it's open. Technically they can go and book. I mean, it's not like they can't.
Honey's books are about to blow up.
Yeah, I mean, technically they can, like, but you know, it depends on how I feel that day, honey. If I'm not feeling it that day, I'm not feeling it. And so at this space in my life, I'm doing what makes me feel good. If I feel good that day and I'm in it, then hey girl, go do your thing. And if I'm not feeling it, cancel. You know, it's really about how I feel and what works for me. And I think that's how we should all approach it. Like, do what works for you.
Absolutely. I think that I'm not taking new clients to start out because I want to ease back into just being back in the salon. And I think for me personally, because the new client appointments are a lot more, it's a lot of talking. I can't talk as much as I'm assuming, just from based off of what you guys have said, and from my experience of wearing the mask out and about, I can't do as much talking. So in fact, I've actually changed how new clients are going to be onboarded. They're going to have to join the Black Girl Magic Digital Salon to get an appointment with me moving forward, because the questions that they ask, the common questions that they ask, take up a lot of the appointment. Like, oh, what do you think about ACV? What do you think about? All of that's over there. So if they can come in already and we can just focus, you know, specifically on their particular challenges, that's going to be helpful moving forward with wearing a mask. I mean, I think they're anticipating at some point we won't have to wear them, is from what I can see from the literature that's being shared. But at this time, that's what's going on, and that's what's going to have to happen.
And to cut down on some of that time, you can be having some of those what I've kind of done, I'm having some of those, instead of having that formal sit down, because we have that formal sit down, we have maybe a little bit of formal sit down, but a lot of those conversations we have at the bowl while I'm at the bowl working on their hair. That's when we're having that conversation. So we can kill 2 birds at one stone. So while they're at the bowl, tell me about your hair. Tell me what's going on with your hair. We're going to be here for a minute. So let's fill the space with talking about that rather than filling the space talking about COVID or any of that other stuff. You know, we can knock that out the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, new clients, there isn't any time to talk about COVID. New clients, it's all like
me.
It is class. You are here.
Here I am.
About your hair. Like, we are not addressing your kids, your dogs, the virus.
Yes, I'm taking new clients business as usual. I have already streamlined the way that my new client experience happens, so I'm not too concerned. I don't take a whole day of new clients anyway, so I can handle like, one a day and be perfectly fine because I've got it already before all of this to where a majority of what really tires me out is already taken care of before they come sit in the chair. So I'm gonna have to make some adjustments, but I'm not tripping off new clients. It's business as usual for me.
Awesome. Now, Wendy wanted to know where you got the capes from, Ronnie. So maybe at some point you can go to Facebook and drop the link where you got them from.
Well, they came through because the suite owner gave us a whole. They just sent us a little list and we just checked off what we wanted.
Okay, so
I'm gonna have to find out who the company is and try to get back to you, Wendy.
Okay, I think
because they just sent us a form and they were like, whatever you want, check off how many do you want, and it'll be at the salon when the salon opens. So I don't even have to. It's gonna be there when I get there. I don't know where they got those.
Arista asked, does your booking system allow you to save cards on file? It does actually, but the percentage that Square takes is higher. I decided, and I've been doing this before COVID, but I actually started invoicing clients while they were under the dryer, if I could, or at some point.
It's the same. Do you know it takes the same amount?
Oh, it's the same amount?
Well, if they
it's
pay
like
if they take on the invoice, or if they do the card on file, the same amount is getting taken out.
Then I'm not worried. You know what? Honestly, cost of doing business, and that's just what I'm gonna have to do, and I don't really care. And
tax write-off.
Tax write-off. So don't get so bent out about those percentages when those are things that can actually go back into your write-offs for your business. So anything that's associated with your business, I mean, granted, I don't know the tax laws, but those are things that can then be written off. So
definitely credit card merchant fees are definitely something that you can write off.
Absolutely.
I want Meg to talk about, and she brought this up yesterday, and I was so inspired by it. About you were talking about how you were moving into like a more of a virtual space with your business. Can you talk, because I don't want to talk about it like it was my idea. So I want you to talk a little bit about that before we wind it down real quick.
Okay. I started thinking about the hours I want to put back into the business, and it'll circus back to the virtual thing. But I think for me personally, I learned what I need to do differently going back with my time and how I want to schedule my stuff. What COVID has taught me is that I was able to reach a bigger, wider audience online. And so what I want to plan to do is 1 day a week, I will be having virtual sessions with clients because I want to slowly, over the next few years, I do want to transition to not be behind the chair as often. It is a different approach. I guess I can call myself an influencer. It is a different approach. It's a different mindset. But I think what it does is it gets you out of like only what you do behind the chair, and it brings you on a one-on-one. And people are starving for it. I just actually got a woman to do a virtual session. She's in Africa, and we were able to get the time on because she's 6 hours ahead of us. So I said, yeah, I'll do an evening for each other. Like, that's okay. So I just made my boundary flexible with hours. And you need admin hours for that. You need admin hours on when to book people. And it was really nice. I've spoken to people in France. I've spoken to people in Germany. It's been really enlightening because it's made what we do even bigger than what I envisioned before. It's feeding a part of my business that I think is interesting. And I think as I beta test more, I'll learn how I really want to price it. It's all through Zoom. You can, even have higher prices. You can offer the recording if you wanted to for a few extra bucks and just make a landing page and give them a link to replay, or they can download it. And they really, really love it. And my biggest, hottest client is mothers with children that are different races from what they grew up with. So a lot of like white moms calling me with their mixed kids. And so we one-on-one, and I understand, there's a need for the tutorials from us and the need of the classes from us, but the one-on-one is really changing the way I'm seeing it. Cause I have an online group too, Curls Hold Magic Blueprint, which shows you everything I know, but it's not the same. And so I think they're really starving for that. And so for those, like, I just want to transition. So if that inspires anybody to know that you don't have to touch the hair to give them guidance, because you know more than they do already. They're just looking for validation and just one more thing they didn't know. And it takes the pressure off the whole thing and makes it fun. So it's been rewarding to do that. And so I'm going to see how I'm going to balance that with salon life.
No, that's awesome. It definitely takes a special person to do that, because there is a lot of energy exchange in those one-on-one times. This is why the new client appointment for all of us, we can only do so many in a day, because the amount of energy that we put into making sure that those clients get everything that they paid for. And so I totally get that. I think that's awesome as well. And I think it's awesome that we were able to take our private space and make it public to everybody, because it seems that these are, concerns or challenges that you all were facing too. So that was the whole point. It was be able to fellowship with people who are experiencing or in the same experience as us. And so, Wendy, you're welcome. All of y'all are welcome. We're all in different places in the world. There are all types of different challenges that are going on. I know for me personally too, this week has been emotionally taxing with what's going on up in Minnesota. So I hear you, Christy. But at the same time though, this is, nobody can even operate mentally to even be thinking about getting their hair done where you live at this point. Yeah. The unrest is too much in the spirit to even be thinking. I couldn't even be thinking about hair right now. I can't think about hair right now, even just being down here in Chicago, and I don't have anything to.
It happened last night in 30 cities, all over the country. 30 cities.
What?
Oh, you need to watch.
I've totally cut off from all of that.
30 cities so much across the country have been. It happened in Dallas. It happened in Houston, Atlanta, New York, LA. It's happening everywhere, and a lot of people. Here? Yes, yeah. A lot of
they definitely have
centralized that are downtown are suffering. So I do know some salon owners that I've had chime in on my Instagram showing that their businesses have been destroyed. So that is a thing right now. Even in Phoenix, baby, 30 cities were hit last night.
I'm about to cry. I had no idea.
It's serious.
It was so much. I just had to cut off from everything. I just couldn't even take it anymore.
Yeah, it's a lot. That's what I was like, this week, there's no way I can go to the salon this upcoming week. That was people don't realize the emotional taxing, and especially for Black folks. I'm sorry, no shade, but Black people feel it a different way than a lot of other people, because if you watch that video and you saw that knee wasn't the knee. That knee was represented a lot of things for a lot of for Black people, because we have experience about that knee, not the knee on my actual neck, but there have been some knees that have
a metaphorical
in my life. And so I sympathize with those who they are angry. They are angry, and their anger doesn't have a price on it. It's just, I'm mad as hell. So I get that being mad as hell. I can be mad as hell on my keyboard. So that's where I'm mad as hell at. I'm mad as hell on my keyboard right now. So if you're a friend of mine on Facebook, y'all have seen my real true thoughts, because on Facebook, that is where I'm real. I'm real on Instagram too, but to an extent. And so we need to, I will say this, and I said this morning. It is very important. And I love the response that Target gave. This morning. Target is headquartered in Minnesota. The headquarters.
That's right.
Minnesota. But they had a great they gave a great response, and they didn't make it about themselves, which I think was so dope. The other part of that is that as people in everywhere, it's about acknowledgement right now. We need to acknowledge that those people are talking. And if we don't understand why they are doing what they're doing, then we need to sit back and listen to why they're doing it. I know we were supposed to be talking about going back to the salon, but this is part of going back to the salon.
But this is part of going back to the salon.
Because people are affected. Like
everybody's impacted by this.
Who was that commented earlier? Christy, she said she had 3 months of clients, and now she's got to figure out. Yeah, she had 3 months. Her salon's boarded up.
But not only that, Tamika's had to explain what's been going on to her 5-year-old because her neighborhood.
Oh wow, that's so sad. It's scary.
And deal with trying to run your business.
Absolutely. I feel for you, Tamika. That would be.
I'm just so choked up right now. It's just. It's too much.
I have a 15-year-old son. He's about to be a young man. A black man. He's slowly growing into a black man that has to go out in this world that's set up like this, where he don't have to be doing anything.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So this is something that is going to be bought into y'all salons too. So believe it or not, however you feel about what occurred earlier this week, you're going to have to acknowledge that happened. We all saw the same thing. We all saw the same video. And some people are experiencing that, what they saw. A lot of us, any Black person I know, saw that and they felt it. They felt that knee. So I need you to understand that knee is symbolic. It is so symbolic, because just a year ago.
That is very symbolic, because that is exactly how life does.
Not that same knee that Kaepernick took. So I need us to be acknowledging how we are all impacted by that knee. Okay. I just want to say that I did get on my soapbox a little bit, but I do want everybody to understand that if you have any Black clients, they are bringing that, or any clients in general who have maybe are close enough with people who are Black, are going to be bringing that into your salon, or their children who are half Black. They Black to me. They are Black, and they are living a Black experience. Even if they don't live it, people are treating them like that in the world, and you need to know that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so important.
So I appreciate y'all for coming on today. I know, again, like, this has been a draining week in multiple ways for a lot of people. And again, if there's something you don't understand, just take the time to sit back and just acknowledge and listen to what's happening around you, because people are actually talking and you need to hear them. I heard the people who wanted to go back to work and they couldn't tell them what to do. I heard them. They weren't science though. Listen to the science first and then come back and tell me you want to be at work. But anyhow, y'all have an amazing Saturday. If anything else comes up as far as like equipment and supplies, or if you guys have questions, drop them on the page. And then if we, we'll drop links to things so y'all know exactly what we were talking about, or if it was something specific. If y'all have a question about anything, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. That's the purpose. We want to be able to help our entire community. Okay? Y'all have a good one. And thank you for joining Triggered.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.